Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of Heated Shenanigans Podcast. I'm your host, Scott, and joining me today, as you can see, is one of the most must-see stars in Impact Wrestling currently, the one and only Moose. Sir, how you
I'm
doing?
doing great.
Good. Well, let's get right into this, Moose. You guys got a big event coming up on June 9th against all odds in Columbus, Ohio, which tickets are on sale right now on impactwrestling.com. Kind of curious if you could tell us a little bit about the event coming up, Moose, and what you got going on for it, and where fans can watch it at.
Yeah, I have a first time ever match actually. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the match I'm in is a first ever concept, which is great. Impact is trying something out. It's called a 8-4-1 match. So what that means is the match first starts as a 8-man tag team, and the winner team of that tag match then has a four-way to determine who the number one contender is for the Impact World Championship. So, it's an 8-4-1 match. And in that match, and I don't know exactly what team I'm in, but I know it's myself, Speedball Bailey, correct? Them in the match. They had missed one person. Yeah, I got everybody. But I'm excited about it. It's our first time back to Columbus, if I'm not mistaken, since pre-COVID. So I'm excited. Great. And that's what I'm to be the number one contender for the Impact World Championship. That's Steve Macklin currently.
So that is a title that you formerly held in Impact Wrestling after you pretty much annihilated Josh Alexander to win that
Yeah.
championship.
If I'm not mistaken, I think I'm the last person to pin Josh Alexander because he technically never lost the title, right? Because he tore his tricep, so he had to relinquish it. So I don't think he's been beaten in a while. Not only am I former world champion, I'm the last person to pin the world champion who never actually lost a title.
So that's pretty impressive accolades.
Not only
And
am I the first
speaking,
person, the last person to pin it, I did it in 10 seconds.
yes, you did. Say, speaking of accolades, you are an incredibly accomplished professional wrestler. What are some accolades that you want to add to your resume before you eventually call it a career?
Oh man, that's a good one. To answer your question, unfortunately, I don't really put goals like. Honestly, the only goal I give myself is to get better than the last. That's the only goal. The real short term goal is something I know I could accomplish every single time I step in the ring, and it's to get 1% better than I was last time I was in there. So, accolades. If I continue to hit these very small short term goals, all the accolades will come.
Perfectly said, Moose. I was very curious. So over the course of your career, through all the professional wrestling you've been involved with, what would you say is one match that you've watched or been a part of that the psychology was something that was really important for you?
Hmm. I've been in a lot. I'm big when it comes to wrestling psychology. I know now there's a lot of people who have their opinions of what wrestling's supposed to be. Psychology is the biggest part of wrestling, and a match that I love watching. That, honestly, anything from, and as much as people shit on like the '80s and 80s wrestling. I watch a lot of 80s wrestling because that's what they did the most was the in-ring psychology. And obviously, those guys so when I do my studying,
Very good, very good. What would you say is one lesson that you've learned in professional wrestling that you didn't expect to learn, and how did it change your career after you learned it?
being patient is the biggest lesson I've learned. You're never going to be given things that you think you want, you think you obviously. I mean, because there are a bunch of other guys who actually work hard to do. You have to be patient and control what you can control yourself and your family. And then once the time comes, then the opportunity gives.
Excellent, excellent. So, some I did forget to mention in the beginning. I want to circle back to it. Also, June 10th is going to be the Against All Odds Fallout. You have this incredibly first time ever match coming up for Impact Wrestling. Do you think the fallout of the show is going to have anything to do with you becoming the new number one contender for Steve Macklin?
My plan, I don't know. I mean, I have to get to this match first. The 8-1 match, and I have to win it. I have to win the 8-man tag aspect of it. Then I have to win the 4-way. And just plan for the fallout. I'm going to take things one day at a time. So let me get to the match first and see what works with teams and all that. And see if I can make up a plan or somehow stop them to worry about the fallout.
Fair enough, fair enough. So a lot of people know, and it's no secret, you used to play in the NFL. You were a very decorated player in the NFL, played for several uh, Super Bowl teams, minus the Falcons, unfortunately. What was it like training in the NFL versus training for being a professional wrestler? Is there any one that's harder than the other?
Yeah, obviously football, anything that can do or 10 times harder than wrestling. Who hate when I tell them that, but that's the truth. I mean, there's a reason why you can wrestle to your 60s and you can't wrestle till you're 40. And I mean, you can't play football till you're 40. So, yeah, no comparison. Football is just harder. Take way more out of your life than wrestling. But wrestling is fun. But it's not what it's not what's fun. And football was never fun. Well, professional wrestling is doing that's something in my life.
Excellent, excellent. When did you decide to make the jump fully? When did it sink in like, hey, I really want to pursue this dream of becoming a professional wrestler and leave everything that I've accomplished in the NFL for right now?
Whenever I made enough money and I was financially stable for the next few years of my life. So I had enough money put aside so that I can focus on something new.
I can see that. You had the you had the opportunity to play with Tom Brady in New England. I was very curious what that experience was like and being around Coach Belichick.
That was a great experience. I mean, Belichick taught me a lot of things I still carry, even with my pro wrestling career, with getting ready to start my own business, being disciplined. There's a lot of knowledge and a lot of things I got from Belichick. Same with Tom Brady, one of the best coaches ever do it. He coached out a bunch of representatives at the same discipline when it comes to winning. Those are two things I took to play
So I grew, so I grew up a very diehard New England Patriots fan, and living in Indiana, it's challenging to have a fanhood for the Patriots.
Okay.
So with Impact Wrestling, What would be one match you would recommend to a wrestling fan, be it casual or hardcore, that would be the match to get them hooked on watching Impact Wrestling? What would be the go-to match to recommend?
I think we have the best look at TV, and if you have please watch I think for
Let's say when I had Taylor Wilde on the other day, it was incredibly hard for her to pick just one match as well. And you guys have a tremendous roster.
do.
Like so incredibly deep with talent at all levels and really something that appeals to every type of professional wrestling fan. And Taylor had mentioned the strides Impact has made with their women's division and how they really took charge. And with what you have coming up with your 841 match, it's just more groundbreaking matches coming out of Impact Wrestling.
I mean, and I've been here, I would say longer than Taylor. I mean, I've been here for what, 7 years now? So I've been here through the ups and the downs of Impact Wrestling. And just right now, some of the things that we're doing is awesome compared to what it was when I first got here. And that's thanks to the leadership of Scott Moore and stuff that he has. So,
Let's say when you had brought back the TNA Heavyweight Championship, which was just amazing to see come back because it'd been so long. Was it your idea to bring that back?
oh, no. Uh, when it comes to creative, I don't think it's ever the talent's. It's rarely ever the talent's idea when it comes to creative. I mean, we have some input. They tell us about it, but it's rarely ever the idea where say, "Hey, let's do this," and they fall straight in love with it. So that wasn't my idea. But when it got brought to my attention that that's what we was doing, I fell in love with the idea, and I thought that it would be great, and it would be something that hasn't been done in a long time, and I'm happy and glad that I was part of that.
Excellent, excellent. Winning the Impact World Championship aside, what has been your favorite moment in Impact Wrestling?
Man, winning the title, that's going to be hard. The top, my favorite moment. You just took away my number one moment, and that's winning the Impact World Championship. So I don't know if I have a number two because number two will be a lot of things that would be right there at number two. So I couldn't pick you one. It's almost like 15 things that would be number two because number one is obviously cashing in and winning the Impact World Championship from Josh at Bound for Glory.
I completely understand that. I know there's been a lot of top moments for your career in Impact Wrestling. Listen, I haven't got that one before. That was a first for me. Also, what would you say is the strangest thing you have ever been asked to sign at a meet and greet?
Uh, I've been exercising boobs. That's probably the strangest thing, and it wasn't even a hot chick. It was like an old, maybe she was in a 55, almost 60, and she asked me to sign the boobs. I was actually in Oakland, California. I did an indie Oakland, California, and she came up to. Obviously, she was flirting with me, but she was like somebody's grandma, and she was like, "Hey, would you sign my boobs?" And I was like, "What?" And then she pulled it out, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's serious!" And I signed it.
Let's say it's always interesting asking this one because when I had Jake the Snake on, he had a very similar experience. Teddy Long had something similar. And it's always fun to hear
Yeah,
the
but
answers
it's funny
to.
because I guarantee all the answers they give you, it's rarely ever from, if it's a boob signing incident, it's never from a hot model chick. It's always from the nastiest looking chick that you could come across. Is the one that wants you to sign her boob. That's wrestling for you. So
Hey man, I mean, the one thing that Jake the Snake had said, wrestling fans have no shame. They are not afraid to
Nope.
ask what they
He's
want.
100% right.
Getting into professional wrestling, Moose, who would you say was someone when you got to Impact really took you under their wing and gave you really sound advice to help guide your career?
Oh, number one, that's an easy answer. That's Eddie Edwards, one of my best buddies in life and in pro wrestling. He was one of the guys when I met. He pretty much took me under his wings and uh, gave me all the advice that he could give me. Sometimes I'm very hard headed, so sometimes he would have to tell me things like 10 times before I actually received it because I wanted to do things my way, and then he quickly realized that yeah, maybe your way doesn't work.
Fair enough, fair enough. Um, excuse me. Last question here before we go and wrap things up here. And again, you've been a phenomenal guest, Moose. Impact Wrestling again. June 9th, Columbus, Ohio, against all odds. June 10th is going to be the Fallout show for Against All Odds. And again, you can catch Impact Wrestling every Thursday, 8, 7 Central on AXS TV. Moose, what is one thing you want to see out of Impact Wrestling before the end of this year?
Oh, before the end of this year, I want to see us sell out a big arena, big 3,000 to 5,000 seat arena, and we actually have the opportunity to do it because at Slammiversary we're running a show in Windsor. I forgot the name of the college, but I think we're going to try to sell out their bigger arena that holds 3 to 4,000 seats. So we have an opportunity to do it, and I think we will because we have the roster, we have. Um, our show has been great. We have phenomenal talents on our roster, and that's one thing that I want us to do more on a frequent basis. But we we get to try it out for the first time at Slammiversary, July 15th, I believe it is, in Windsor, Ontario. So let's see how we do it. I think we're going to kill it, knock it out of the park.
I think you guys will too. You guys have an impeccable roster, and it just continues to get better. And then the wrestling there is top notch. You couldn't ask for a better lineup of professional wrestling anywhere else. Before we go, Moose, is there anything that you want to get into promote before we go and wrap
Yeah,
this up?
definitely against
Any
all
upcoming
odds.
gear?
This weekend, or next weekend, I'm sorry. I mean, an 8-4-1 match, 8-man tag that turns into a 4-way, and the winner goes to Slammiversary to be the number one contender. Hopefully, I'm the winner. That's what I'm working for. If you haven't gotten your tickets, get your tickets now. We'll be in Columbus, Ohio. See you guys there.
Absolutely. And you guys can get those tickets at impactwrestling.com. Act fast because they are going quick, and you don't want to miss out on this event. You're going to really regret it if you do. Well, guys, for Scott of Heated Shenanigans
All right.
Podcast, we will see you guys on the next episode. And again, thank you so much, Moose, for taking time to joining us. And we'll see you guys on the next episode.